The appeal of Night City was in its impressive scope and dazzling visuals, which painted a bleak, neon-lit future dictated by technological exploitation and unfettered capitalism. Within that were tragic human stories to pull at your heartstrings, and a whole lot of violent action often perpetuated by its gameplay systems. But what if you took the best parts of Cyberpunk 2077 and condensed them into a tight, cohesive package for a heart-wrenching political action thriller? That's what Phantom Liberty does as an expansion that seamlessly fits into the original game. It showcases the full potential of Cyberpunk 2077 with a new, captivating story that's intimate, raw, and earnest, told through a strong cast of characters. Its narrative ambitions are contextualized in the missions that drive the plot, which contain top-tier action set pieces to let the revamped RPG mechanics sing, and a variety of tense and well-crafted non-combat scenarios to bring it together. More than anything, Phantom Liberty goes above and beyond with not one, but two finales that are wildly different yet equally stunning. Hell, even three when counting the new ending for the original story. It's a fantastic mix of nearly everything you could ask of Cyberpunk, and after taking 30 hours to experience all of its content, I just can't imagine Cyberpunk 2077 without Phantom Liberty. Before I move on, I do want to note that most of the footage you're seeing here was provided by CD Projekt Red. At the time of publishing this video, reviewers were required to use this gameplay for Phantom Liberty and were not permitted to use their own. Back to business. This expansion acts as another branch to V's main goal from the original story, and one that involves forces outside of Night City, federal agents who make up the new core characters, and Dogtown, a downtrodden militia-run district where most of the expansion takes place. It's hard to ignore the star power of famed actor Idris Elba lending his voice and likeness to the key character Solomon Reed, who has a commanding presence in every scene he's in.
I only ever risk so much. Sometimes it's just safer to shove the barrel of a Malorian between a troon's ribs, even if he is on your side. It's nothing personal. No hard feelings, I hope.
But the emotional anchor is Song So Mi, aka Songbird, the world's most talented netrunner. She provides a wonderful contrast and brings the depth required to tell a story like Phantom Liberty's. Reed and Songbird have a deep history working together as longtime FIA agents, and with V caught up in all of it, an intriguing tension constantly hangs over the political and personal drama.
You'll feel better any second now.
V, something stinks here. Think she's f***ing with the relic.
And there to cut the tension is Johnny Silverhand, who's still the charismatic asshole you know and love, portrayed by Keanu Reeves. Surprisingly, he's a lot more introspective, opening up in ways that add a new dimension to his character to relate to the events of Phantom Liberty. He often provides sobering perspectives on the most dire situations, and it's a comforting familiarity when he pops up. When you don't know who to trust or what choice to make, you can rely on Johnny and his smart-ass one-liners, because at least you know he's brutally honest.
I think we really hit it off.
Sure. Bet he's got candy in that van. Ready to find out?
Voice performances come alive with motion capture and animation for scenes where subtleties genuinely add a layer of nuance to these characters. Especially for a story told entirely in first person, those high production values pay off. This confluence of writing, performance, and tech is how Reed, Songbird, Johnny, and other supporting characters jump out from the script and screen in their most critical moments, and become unforgettable pieces of Cyberpunk's world. The big new piece to that world is Dogtown, an independent district within Night City that's been overrun by a militia acting as a de facto government. Slums, dilapidated buildings, and abandoned structures make up most of Dogtown, along with a few luxurious establishments and the lively black market within the football stadium. It's smaller in scale and easier to familiarize yourself with the streets, but when looking across the district from the rooftops, it still gives the impression of a sprawling open world. Although the harsh realities on the ground are sad to see, like a post-apocalyptic society barely scraping by, Dogtown has a distinct identity separate from Night City. Part of it is a lawless war zone, but there's another side that's genuinely human with people trying their best to eke out an existence in spite of it all. Phantom Liberty makes great use of Dogtown, smartly embedding much of its main story and side missions within its streets. The absolute banger of an opening mission is emblematic of this design philosophy. As Songbird leads you through the stadium's black market, you get an immediate sense of the town's vibe before all hell breaks loose. Confronting the battling factions in tense firefights or elaborate plays at stealth take place in the open world areas, and you quickly see how Dogtown was made to naturally support missions and combat sequences that feel curated and intentionally designed, and that synergy is a mark of a good open world. Gigs and side missions also litter the streets, and Phantom Liberty prioritizes quality over quantity here as well. While they are side content, gigs play an important role in the flow of the main mission, since your fixer, Mr. Hands, is a crucial contact for favors that advance the story. What's more is that each gig is an elaborate mission rather than an objective to check off of a list.
Odell Blanco? Name's V. Fixer said you need a hand.
These are action-packed to give them a satisfying gameplay challenge, but they're always accompanied by a heavy decision in the end, which are often made in the heat of the moment. Choices are rarely ever black and white, and these stories paint a vivid picture of what life is like in Dogtown, where the desperation to escape poverty clashes with the very system that people rely on, which also exploits them, grinds them, and spits them out. The results of your decisions may not lead to major revelations, but every gig and side mission is absolutely worth doing. Phantom Liberty also encompasses the 2.0 update, and combat is exciting as ever with explosive set pieces that bring out the best in the overhauled RPG systems. With the revamped perks and skill trees, building your character for specific playstyles has a dramatic effect in combat, and the flexibility of the system, which expertly balances complexity and approachability, means you'll create hybrid approaches. Features like the Hat Queue make Netrunner style builds much more viable and intricate. Lightning fast air dashes combined with blades make you a nimble, lethal target who can deflect bullets back at enemies. Stealth can also be worked into any build because the gameplay systems and level design both support it as a viable option. Cyberpunk isn't rigid, and in fact it pushes you to create hybrid builds to make use of all weapon types to overcome Phantom Liberty's intense and challenging battles. These distinct abilities in the skill tree are so fun to mix and match, and like great RPGs do, piecing together your favorite gameplay mechanics feels natural. The new cyberware system adds another layer to creating an effective build, letting you fine-tune your character with specific stats, additional abilities, and quick hacks. Phantom Liberty introduces the relic skill tree as well, and while it isn't particularly deep, it adds a wrinkle to the formula with new cyberware like the quick hack-infused monowire melee weapon or the arm-mounted rocket launcher. Overall, Cyberpunk 2077's RPG identity is stronger than it ever was, and Phantom Liberty's combat scenarios benefit tremendously in this re-envisioned foundation, and it results in a uniquely satisfying gameplay experience. There was never a dull moment when it came to combat, but it's only one part of what Phantom Liberty does so well. The story draws inspiration from spy thrillers, and it's easily seen in the missions where you have to navigate conversations carefully under stressful situations. When it comes down to business, however, making sensible dialogue decisions under duress and often doubting yourself if you made the right one was integral to the experience. Overall, Phantom Liberty isn't so much concerned with giving you freedom to influence outcomes on a large scale until it makes those choices clear. But even when it's on a set track with clear paths, the game is great at contextualizing your decisions to mitigate feelings of pointlessness. Save for a few inconsistencies in dialogue options, its writing is watertight, and I began to care about those minor decisions as I became fully invested in the story and playing the role of my version of V, even if it was just to provoke certain responses. The conversations at Dogtown's park overlooking the unfinished skyscrapers give you time to soak it all in, and sticking around to eavesdrop on conversations between key characters or make a dialogue choice opens small but rewarding opportunities to see characters in a different light. So as wild as the action may get, there's an ever-present groundedness to the journey, making seemingly inconsequential choices add up to form a believable, personalized understanding of Phantom Liberty.
Got this token? Mean anything to you?
But I need to make sure.
Keeps his cards close, this one.
With all that laid bare, Phantom Liberty's crowning achievement is in how it executes its closing hours. With two mutually exclusive paths at a turning point in the story, the game takes some wild swings that pay off in spectacularly different ways. They'll hit you with unexpected twists that leave you questioning whether or not you did the right thing, wondering why you feel empowered yet powerless, and pondering the age-old question, what was it all for? This is one case where I implore anyone who plays it to see both routes. One, because of the drastically different and superb gameplay experiences they offer, but more importantly, together they complete the full picture of Phantom Liberty's ambitious story. And on top of that, the new ending for the original story, earned by fulfilling certain conditions in Phantom Liberty, is the cherry on top. It recontextualizes the cyberpunk journey in powerful fashion. But to talk about the emotions it teased out would be to give away too much. But I must say that CD Projekt Red outdone themselves with this one, delivering the type of ending that very few games are able to get right. So from almost every angle, Phantom Liberty is Cyberpunk 2077 at its best. CD Projekt Red has taken the lessons from the original game and focused on the parts that mattered most to deliver a thrilling and impactful experience that doesn't overstay its welcome. And although it fits into the original story, it leaves a lasting impression that rewrote my perception of Cyberpunk's world. From a gameplay perspective, Phantom Liberty takes full advantage of the fantastic overhaul of the RPG systems for combat, then elevates the intimate dialogue-driven elements that make it unforgettable, and does so in spectacular and inventive fashion in its conclusions. Beneath the violence and edginess, the actual cyberpunk world is always going to be about the toll on human life, and Phantom Liberty largely understands that. It's a cruel, sobering, and bittersweet tale that will stick with you well after V lays down their weapons.
Huh.